Welcome, everybody. I am giving up on that idea. Lee is just having fits over there. If he knew how I screwed that intro.
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I think I even got the YouTube muted. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Westward Bees. Sorry about that awkward start. We got some other Western beekeepers. We got Glade Sessions in the bottom left-hand corner, Utah beekeeper, and Bracken Barker, another Utah beekeeper. I'm out in Colorado. I live in Lakewood, which is a metro town right outside of Denver, and Todd is in the Fresno area, right in almond country. Todd, give us the local almond report. How's it going out there?
It's this year's what's going to be known as a flash bloom. It's going to start and it's going to be over quick. I saw Ray Oliveras' video today, and
I saw that too.
Yeah, and like every tree is just cranking, and then tomorrow it'll be full bloom and it'll be done before it even started. So if you didn't get your bees in the yards or the orchards by now, you're in trouble. and the growers are too. If they don't have bees there, because you know what, typically I hear stories of growers scrambling for bees like days after the bloom has started, and they're not going to have a chance to do that this year. So it's going to be one of those crazy.
So, in the big picture for bees, is this flash bloom, is it good for bees, bad for bees, or just different? Or
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah. I think it would be worse for bees because if they just got dropped in, they're going to be hauled out pretty quick. So, they're going to be bouncing around. They'll finally get settled and then they're going to be moved out. So who knows?
Gotcha. And Bracken, you've got bees out in California. We've watched you take them out a couple of years now. What's the report? You've got a buddy of yours taking care of your bees out there. How are they looking?
Good. He's got them all in the trees, and yeah, they're blooming and they're doing good. I sent 128 colonies and 124 colonies, and 110 made grade. So some didn't make grade, which is, all right. But
that's just part of the game.
Yeah, part of the game. So they're in the trees and ready to go to work.
Now, those ones that don't make grade, are they still on the almond, still building up anyway? You just don't get paid for them?
Where do they go? Don't know if I don't know. I haven't asked that. I don't know if they're just back in his holding yard or if they're actually out in the trees.
Okay.
So I know in the past when I took them and went with a different guy, my first 2 years, they would put everything in the trees, but they would only pay you, your top dollar for your A hive, your good grade hives.
Yeah. And you said you sent 128 out there. Is that pretty much everything you have?
Well, I only 48 of those are mine.
Oh, and okay.
Then 48 are another buddy's, and then 24 or 28 was my mentor Brad's. So
gotcha.
I took a few out, filled the trailer up. That was my goal, is to just fill the trailer as much as I could and take a full load. So
now
what I was able to dig out.
We've been watching you talking about building your empire. What's your goal this year for the empire as far as what you're doing? We see you building a honey house. Yeah.
Complete what?
Complete dominance.
I just like the word empire. It sounds cooler than build a business.
It's more fun. But tell us, what are your goals? What are your plans? We see your honey house you're working on.
Yeah, that's in the making. Got the door on it. Got to get cement in it here in the next couple weeks, and then I'll start, putting everything in there and moving my honey stuff. And I have a few goals this year. I want to get over 100 hives. I want to try to go into late summer, August, with about 120-ish colonies. I'd like to send 100 hives next year that are my own. to California. There's actually been some talk with my guy Oki. He wants me to try to get a semi load, not of my own, but to fill out enough to send a semi. He had quite a few people reaching out to him this year that was in need of bees. There was a lot of dead bees that had been sent, and a lot of people, like Todd said, there was quite a few people, it sounded like, that were scrambling for bees.
Yeah.
And so he's going to work on the logistics side of that, a big enough holding yard. He's got a big enough holding yard for a semi-load, but he doesn't want to keep them there the whole time. He wants to be able to separate them a little bit,
Sure.
take them, and then just contracts with some of the almond masters, and he thinks it can be done. So he's going to work on that end. And then I've been talking to a couple beekeepers around here that have got, I know a couple guys that have got a couple hundred colonies that might, be willing to fill the rest, but I don't know. I don't know if I want to be responsible for a semi-load of bees yet.
Would that take you out of the equation as the driver?
So my brother-in-law is a truck driver, and he just lives down the road. And I called as soon as I talked to Oki. I hung up the phone and called him, and I was like, "Hey, man, I need to know if you're serious," because I've teased him before. I've been like, "Hey, gonna one of these days I'm gonna have you take a load of bees to California," and he, yeah, whatever. But I pinned him down, and I was like, "No, really, man, like, would you be willing?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, for sure. Just, he would probably bring the trailer and drop it off, and I'd load it, and then he'd just pick up it on in the morning, and I'd probably ride down with him, just ride in the semi with him, and shit, he'll drive down and back without stopping." So
one of the things I want to talk about tonight is like one of the features, like what's good about beekeeping where you're at. For us to say what's good about beekeeping in the West, I think is a little not valid because we live in such different climates. But I think there are things that are common. Bracken, would you say that one of the positive things for you about where you live is how close you are to the almonds to be able to, like, if you lived in Georgia, would this be on your mind as much as you lived in Utah? Yeah.
No.
So
No.
So you think you as a small scale commercial beekeeper really benefits from living out west because you're so close to all of those pollination opportunities?
Yeah, I think it helps. I mean, I can be to California in 12 hours, 10 hours. I could leave right now and be there if I had to, for some reason, or jump on a flight for fairly cheap and
go check on your bees. Yeah.
Go check them. I could make a roundabout trip and, I could probably do it in a day and a half or a day if I needed,
Sure.
But
now, Glade, you keep bees a little bit differently. You're more of a backyard or a small scale sideliner. Would you say that that's about right?
Small scale sideliner.
I think Glade's bigger than me, to be honest. I think he's got more colonies.
I have 40 hives right at the moment. Yep.
How many different yards?
4.
4 different yards. So about 10 per yard?
Yeah, 10, 12. The yard here at my house has a few more just because of I usually keep a bunch of nukes. About 25 is my production hives, and then the rest of the number kind of goes up and down. I overwinter nukes and then sell them in the spring.
Okay. So for you, you're stationary. You don't move your bees around like Bracken.
Yeah, my bees don't go anywhere.
Put them down. Yeah.
No.
What about you? You live in a place, I'm familiar with that part of Utah a little bit. I've been to Dinosaur National Monument. I've been to Vernal once as we went to Dinosaur National Monument. I'm familiar with that arid, dry Utah environment. A lot of people out east look at a picture of that and think, how can your bees forage on anything in that environment? Do you feel like in your area there's enough forage out there for your bees?
You've got to kind of pay attention where you're putting them. You can't just drop them anywhere.
Okay.
I had one lady that I was trying to mentor, and it was about July, and she to me. I ran it into her in the store, and she come up to me and said, "My bees are just not doing well." And I'm feeding them well. And I'm like, it's the first year bees. You got to kind of feed them a little bit out here. And then I asked her specifically, tell me where you exactly are. And as I got down to the nitty gritty, I pulled it up on Google Earth, and she lived out. We call them the cedars, but they're pinyon junipers.
Mm-hmm.
And she lived out in the pinyon junipers that I looked on the map. She was 3 miles from anything that was green. 3 miles. I'm like, well, no wonder you're bees. There's nothing out there. Those pinyon junipers don't produce anything, and they don't have any. There's no ground plants underneath a pinyon juniper. Those trees suck all the moisture out of the ground, so nothing grows between them.
Okay.
And it's completely desert.
Yeah.
And I looked at her and I said, "There's no way you're going to be able to keep bees out there. I mean, there's just no way."
Yeah.
And so you have to kind of pay attention to where you're putting them, and jump on Google Earth, draw a 2 mile, 3 mile radius around your hive and see what's out there. And I've had people offer me, come put your bees on my place, and I'm like, there's nothing out there. It doesn't do me any good.
Sure.
So yeah, you kind of have to pay attention, but there's enough farm ground and there's enough ditches and gulches and things that produce enough wildflower that if you can get somewhere where there's a little bit of water, you can do okay.
Sure. That's definitely something different from my experience. I can pretty much drive anywhere except west, where I start to go up in elevation and have plenty of trees that my bees are going to be able to forage on. In the Denver area, that's really what my money is made on. I get honey off of the trees that have been here for a long time. If I go for 60 miles out east, I'm in farmland with no trees, and I'm kind of like what you just described. You got to pick and choose your places to make sure you're putting them in the right areas. But here in the Denver area, I benefit from that really nice nectar flow. I also benefit from a nice market. Living near a big city, I have a lot of farmers markets I can kind of pick and choose from, a lot of local events, a lot of people with a lot of money that I can sell my honey and products of the hive to. So for me, as I started my business, I knew that was a feature of where I lived that I could really leverage around my business. I knew there were people here that would pay someone like me good money for local raw honey. And that's been something we've built our business around. How about you, Todd? What's great about living or keeping bees in California, right in the middle of almond orchards, where 90% of the managed colonies go for 3 weeks of the year? What's great about that?
There's tons of stone fruit here. There's peaches, plums, nectarines, pluots. I mean, you name it. Apricots. And actually right now, those are blooming. They're blooming early. They're like, I think they're over 2 weeks early right now. And so you have those along with the almonds that are going. So there's all kinds of stuff for them to pick at. But then when it shuts down, it's going to shut down for about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then the oranges will start up. Now, in between the oranges and the stone fruit, or mainly peaches and plums, there's henbit and the dandelions will come out, but that's always dependent on the groundwater that we have. And this year it's been good, or we got a lot of rain in the fall, so it's going to be a good year for wildflower honey. I know that for a fact. Oranges, I mean, we'll wait to see what happens there. But overall, I mean, out here in the middle of, it's what do they call it? The fruit basket of the world, or even the food basket of the world, because we grow tons of stuff around here. I mean, just about everything you could think of. And when it's a dry, hot summer, it's terrible. I mean, I could say different words, but I won't on here. But it's really bad. And I mean, the only thing that the biggest business during the summer when it's a hot, dry summer is forestry because they're fighting fires. There's nothing else going on.
Sure.
But anyway, I mean that's where you plug in sugar syrup and it's like that's about it.
So you talked about the oranges blooming like 3 weeks after the almonds. Do people leave their bees there for orange blossom? Like, how does that work?
Well, it depends. Some do, but a lot of guys they move north. They go up to Oregon and Washington. They do the cherries. See, they do the cherries and then they do apples. So the true pollinators are yeah. So they do that. It's kind of just you're a nomad. You go all over the country and follow the crops.
But some folks will go from almonds right to oranges.
Some like you asked Bracken if he was from Georgia. Those guys that come out here, no, they'll go north and they'll hit cherries and they'll hit apples, and then I don't know where they go after that. But some of the more kind of quote unquote local guys will stick around for the oranges.
Okay.
So yeah. But actually, oranges are this year. It's going to be a bigger spread between almonds and oranges because almonds are going to be quick. Typically, it's around April 1st is when the oranges start going. Sometimes they might go a little early. Sometimes it might go a little late. But it's always around April 1st, that first week. So you have the whole month of March, but that's where the almonds come in. So they start, right about now, and they'll keep blooming. Excuse me. They'll keep blooming for, a few weeks. There's something for the bees to get, and then the growers will leave the almonds in the orchards just to make sure that they've gotten everything they can get. But like I said, this year is going to be different. So that's that leaving them in the extra couple of weeks in the orchards. That's where, the oranges are. Did I say oranges? When they leave them in the almonds just that extra week or two, that gap between that time and the oranges is about 3, maybe 4 weeks. It's always dependent on the weather, as we know in this business. So
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here in Colorado, we have a Cottage Food Act, and it's pretty friendly to beekeepers. We can do creamed honeys. We can add powdered ingredients into our creamed honeys, which I know isn't true for all states. We can sell up to $10,000 of each product. So I can do up to $10,000 of sales on raw honey, on comb honey, on plain creamed honey, on every flavored. So that was one of the reasons I kind of diversified my different honey options out there. What are the cottage food laws or the honey selling laws like in Utah and California? What is that like for you guys? Now, if I want to sell in a store, that's a different thing. I have to get a commercial license. Under the Cottage Food Act, I'm only supposed to sell direct to customer. I can't sell through what's called a third party, but there are some times we'll do that. Like we sell wholesale to like little farms that do like a CSA kind of thing. But really, we're supposed to be doing direct to customer, which is part of our farmers market thing. What's it like in Utah and California as far as the laws around selling honey?
Utah is very similar. You have to have a food handler's permit, and you're supposed to be selling directly to the consumers.
Yeah.
There's some labeling requirements, which I found to be the biggest hurdle to get through was the stupid labeling requirements. If you're a commercial guy, you can put a label about that big on your 5-gallon bucket. And if it just says honey, 5 gallons, good enough. But if you're a cottage food, you've got to put ounces and grams, and
Yeah.
they were getting so picky that the Y in honey was coming down too low and too close to the weight, and they didn't like it. And so I had to move my wording up just to satisfy them.
So you had to get your label approved?
Every label approved.
Wow.
One at a time.
Holy cow, that's a pain.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I've maybe I shouldn't say this. I've added products and I've not gone back to get it's not
Yeah.
worth it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to answer any of these questions.
I hear you. Well, and I'll say this, guys.
Bracken's
I think
just
it's important that you know the laws where you're selling and doing business. What you do with that knowledge is totally up to you. But at least knowing those laws, I think, is really important.
I'm a law-abiding citizen. We're good.
And that's all I'm going to say.
My labels meet Utah standards. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. We've had to take we have to take a food handlers class just to get like a food handler's certificate. And through that, they give you the wording that you need. And it's similar. We have to put our business name on it. It says you have to put the whole address, but we just put our website on it and then Lakewood, Colorado. And then from there, they can find out more information as they go on the website.
We have to put
certain,
our name, address, and phone number. And it also has to say home produced on there.
Yeah, we have like a little verbiage like that too. Produced in a kitchen, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no one's coming to inspect my home. No one's coming to inspect my honey house. So that's kind of hands off.
I had somebody, a very nice lady. She was very professional about the whole thing. She came to my house, asked me about, how I cleaned things and whether I had pets in the house and that sort of stuff. And haven't seen anybody since. And that was, I don't know, 6-7 years ago. And have not seen anybody since. I think as long as I pay my $10 a year permit fee, they don't care.
Yeah. Yep.
And I don't, my house is pretty clean. We don't have pets in the house. I don't have any kids at home anymore. There's just the two of us, and we're kind of picky about cleanliness. But I've been to one of the commercial beekeepers here in the state, and I've been to a couple of places, commercial beekeepers here in the state. I don't know how they pass inspection. I'll be honest. I don't know how they pass inspection.
I have friends that went the commercial license route one year, and they had to take their honey into a commissary and just basically go from bucket to jar in that commissary. And they pretty much said the same thing. Our kitchen at home is way cleaner than that commercial kitchen. I can't believe we have to do this stuff. So,
some of the places I've walked into, I thought, we're going to see, kind of an Ian Stepler cleanliness. I mean, his place is spotless, right?
Yeah.
And no, you don't walk very fast across the floor because you're sticking to the floor.
So what's your extraction setup like? Do you have your own a room, a shed, a garage? What do you do?
I have a detached shed here, detached garage, and it is my workshop. And I just push everything to one side of the workshop, and I put plastic down on the floor, and nothing happens in that workshop. There's no, that's where my table saw and all my woodworking stuff is, but nothing happens when I do honey extraction. That's all I do for a couple of days. But it goes from the hive, uncapping tank into the spinner, out of the spinner into the bucket, put a lid on it. That's it. I had one of the state health inspectors call me one day and said, "Tell me what the process is. What are you really doing?" And I'm like, this is what happens. And I had to tell him and he started asking me about honey and, you know, storing it. And I'm like, dude, you need to understand, as long as the moisture content's right and you keep it dry, it's not going to go bad. I mean, you really have to kind of work at it to make it bad.
Which I'm sure where you guys are at in Utah, you really have to work at it to ferment it, right?
Oh yeah,
it's so dry out here already, right?
My honey was registering, I don't know, 13% this last year. It was super dry. And I'm 14, 15, 16 is not uncommon for me. If it's capped at all, even if half the frame is capped, even if I pull 3 frames out of a box of 10 that are not capped at all, by the time it goes through the extractor, it's still 14, 15, 16%.
Yeah, I just use the shake test. That capped cells means nothing out here. If I shake it, nothing comes out.
It's good. Take it. Yep. Run.
What about selling bees in Utah? Do you have to have any certificates? Does Utah have a state inspector? How does that work out there?
We do have a state apiarist, state bee inspector, and I know him.
But it's literally one guy for the entire state.
He has a helper, and then the counties are supposed to have their own county inspector. Some of the counties do, some of the counties don't.
Wow.
I know who my county bee inspector is. I've never seen him.
Have you ever called him or requested services from him?
No.
Okay. Colorado has no state inspector. We have something called an apiary specialist, which is basically someone who just comes out and will do the yearly data. They'll take the bee samples, send them out to, I don't know if it's the Beltsville lab. Same thing Sawmill Charlie was doing every year with his bee inspector. So
and
there's no
several years with mine, and I love it. I'll actually call the state bee inspector and say, hey, when you coming? Because I get somebody else looking at my hives. You know, if you're the only person looking in your hives, sometimes you just don't see what you think you're seeing. And just having somebody else go, hey, have you seen this? But you know, they take their samples, and so I get wax analysis for pesticides, and they take all their bee samples, so I get virus analysis. There's probably $1,000 worth of sampling, you know, tests run on my hives that I get for free.
Yeah.
I would never know what any of that if I didn't do it. And I love it. They want to come out and inspect my hives, come get it.
How long does it take for the turnover to get the data?
A while.
Like 6 months?
4 or 5 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you do it in August, you'll get it in March, maybe?
You might get it a little sooner than that. You might get it December.
Okay.
So I think the last round he came in May, and I think I saw results in like October. So 5 months, 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
So it's granted, it's too late to do anything, right? It's not quick enough that you can go, oh, I should be treating for whatever. And it's too late for that. But, you know, it gives me a good idea of, hey, wait a minute, you should probably be paying more attention to EFB, or you should be paying more attention to chalk brood, or you should be paying more attention to this or that. One of the ones that comes up every year in mine is Israeli acute paralysis virus. Shows up every year in mine.
So hold on, it shows up in the data on paper, or it shows up in your hives?
I don't recognize it in my hives. I don't see it in the hives, but it shows up from the tests.
Okay.
Wow.
Is it in really high levels, or just like kind of low levels?
They're lower levels. So when the tests come back, I guess I should do a video on this. When the tests come back, they show how your levels compare to all the other tests that they've run on all the other hives.
Okay.
And mine generally run on the lower end to average. I rarely see anything on the high end. So I know there's beekeepers out there that have much higher levels of whatever. The ones that I see the most are deformed wing virus. I think it's B. And I see Nosema serrani. And I see Israeli acute paralysis. Those are the three that seem to crop up. And interestingly enough, I may see, say, Nosema in the spring. And then when sometimes they'll come back in the fall and take samples again. And it doesn't show up in the fall.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's vice versa. And sometimes it's one virus or one disease and not the other. I know when the one time he took samples, he's like, oh, look, chalk brood. And I'm like, yep, that's chalk brood. And it sure enough, it showed up on the analysis. And then come the fall one, no chalk brood at all. None, zero. So, but because I have the analysis done, I can kind of watch and say, oh, here's a hive with chalk brood. I'm not breeding from that hive. I'm not gonna make queens out of that hive. She's gonna get replaced this year no matter what, But it's interesting to do that, and it'd be because they throw all the samples basically in one bag. You don't really know which hive has what.
Right.
But to know that it's there, now you're paying a little more attention to what's going on. And like I say, Israeli acute bee paralysis, I don't know that I would know how to recognize that. Do I see bees stumbling around the entrance of the hive? No. So, what, but it's at least something that I have an idea of, okay, I have something there, and I need to be just paying attention to what I'm doing and making sure that my hives are looking healthy. And I would dare bet most of us have a few viruses in our hives that we don't really recognize.
I think that's,
and they probably don't cause much grief. I mean, it's just like you and me. We carry viruses on us all day long, every day, and they don't really affect us until our immune system and our defenses get low, and then all of a sudden we're sick. And the bees, I think, are the same way. When their defenses get low and they're stressed for whatever reason, then all those viruses start to pop up and show their head.
Yep. I think
deformed wing virus shows probably the quickest.
Yeah. And for me, probably the most common as well.
Yeah.
Glade, was there a lot of die off up there last year? Not you, but I mean, did you hear stories anywhere around the state?
A lot of the backyard beekeepers lost hives. Like, if you had 4 hives, you lost 3 of them.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I didn't have that kind of a die off. I think I think I went into winter with somewhere again around the 40 mark, and I think I lost 5.
So it's pretty normal, right?
Yeah, that's kind of my range.
You won't like hearing what I'm about to say, and this is just a guesstimate on my part. So I had an 84% loss last year, and there were some other guys around here that also had a loss. Maybe not as big, but a considerable loss. Not a normal year. This year, so far, knock on wood, And I'm already past the point I was last year. So I think I'm in the clear. The people that didn't have a die-off last year are having a die-off this year. And you
don't
said,
tell me that.
you said, and what reminded me of this is you said, just like us humans, we're walking around with viruses on us all the time. Well, some years we get the flu really bad and some years we don't. And last year my bees got the flu really bad.
Oh.
And my friends that didn't have it, they're like, wow, that's too bad. I only, I had a normal loss for the winter. Now one guy's wiped out. One guy I know is wiped out just about. And there's no rhyme or reason, but I think it's it's obvious, sounds like to me at least, a viral issue. It's really weird. And I don't know if anybody's really paying attention to that, meaning any researchers. I don't know if UC Davis is doing anything, or even if they're aware of it or have a problem up there. But around here, it seems to be a problem. So I don't know if that's just in my area or if there's other places around the country or in the region. But anyway, so
I think it was I don't think it was last year. I think it was 2 years ago. It might even been 3 years ago that the commercial beekeeper near me, and he runs, I think between all of the family, probably runs 8,000 to 10,000 hives. I think one of his workers told me they were losing upwards of 60 or 70%. Just took a big hit, and I don't know how they do it.
But I don't either. I heard a story.
I don't know how you did it.
Well, I'm just I don't know, between a sideliner and a hobbyist. But there was a story of a guy he was in Kansas or Nebraska, and he ran 1,300 colonies, and that's how he fed his family, and he lost them all last year. And it was that virus that was going everywhere. So it's crazy. And American Bee Lady, yeah, she's right. Amatraz resistance is a big part of it too. I've got lots of things to say about that, but I don't want to talk about that.
I've never used Amatraz.
Nor have I. Todd, you talked about feeling like you're kind of out of the woods, man. I do not feel like that yet this year.
I'm not gonna make that statement yet.
Well, I think you guys in Utah have been feeling the same. We've been so warm here that my bees have been going through their winter stores more than usual. So I was feeding bees today, and they were really light. I still have the potential of bees starving out. I think the health thing, they're out of the clear. It's that, are they going to starve to death as they start building up? Because I got pollen coming in. They're going to start brooding up, and they're going to go through whatever they have left even faster. So for me, what's another great thing about where I keep bees is we do get warm days in the winter. So bees get plenty of opportunities to do cleansing flight. So it's not like they go to bed at some point in November and then stay in the box till March. They get plenty of opportunities to come out and clear out. Yeah, Glade.
And that's kind of the difference between Bracken and myself. Typically, now this year is totally off the charts, but typically from about December, January, February, and into March, my bees don't get a cleansing flight at all. But this year, I don't think they've gone more than maybe a week without having warm enough weather to take a cleansing flight. I mean, we're at 39 degrees right now. Here it is, the 12th of February. We should be probably below zero right now.
Wow.
We had
when do your first pollens come in?
We don't usually see pollen until late March.
Wow.
And Bracken will see it sooner than I will. He's where he's at, that north-south, we call it the Wasatch Front, Salt Lake north and south. that area runs about 3 weeks ahead of me. When their Bradford pear trees start blooming out there, then I go, oh yeah, in 3 weeks ours will bloom, and that's about right. But this year, all bets are off. This year, I have no idea what's going to happen. We had rain today. We've had a quarter of an inch of rain in the last 24 hours, and it's 39 degrees right now outside.
Mhm.
And we probably should be 9 degrees outside.
Okay. And then Bracken, you're a little different because you're not wintering your bees all in one spot. I mean, they're in California right now. They're on vacation.
He's got
So-
one
Yeah.
little
I
nook at the
got a
house.
little nuke that I'm trying to get through winter. I did realize that next year I think I will keep a few more just for the sake of my
He needs some mental health.
yeah.
Got to get those winter stings in.
Yeah, exactly. Got to go smell
about-
it once in a while, or at least look at it.
Yeah. What about selling bees in Utah? Do you have to get a certificate? Do you have to get inspected to be able to do that? Or like for us, Colorado, literally the Wild West. There's no one looking at anything. It's in some ways it's really nice, and in other ways it's a little bit scary.
If there is, I don't know about it.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to like large amounts of queens, if you're selling queens, I think they want you to have those checked. I've kind of been told that from some people, but as far as I also remember being told that if you sell to like IFA or like Tractor Supply, they want you to have an inspector come and check it off or whatever to, so IFA kind of covering their butt, I guess. Or Tractor Supply.
That's more for IFA and Cal Ranch and Tractor Supply.
Yeah, but as far as
That's for their benefit, not for
yeah. I've sold nukes and I haven't had anybody check them. So
Yeah.
I've talked to the state bee inspector, and if you would like him to come out and check them, he'll come out and check them.
Sure.
I asked the state bee inspector, and if you're a fan of government or not a fan of government, doesn't matter. But I asked him one day, I said, all right, how many tickets, how many times have you actually written somebody up or gave them a ticket or fined them or did something that was, I don't want to call it retaliatory. That's not what it is.
we know what you mean. Yeah.
How many times have you actually had to do that? And he's been the state bee inspector for quite a while, and he's like, I've never done that in life. I wouldn't even know where a ticket book is at. I wouldn't even know how to do it. He said, our goal is not to write tickets. Our goal's not trying to get after all these beekeepers. Our goal is to educate them so that they keep healthy bees. We need the bees. And so I think Utah's fairly bee friendly as far as that's concerned.
And I think when apiary programs work well, that's exactly what they are, Glade. They're support systems for beekeepers, right? That's what it's there for.
Yeah, and
it's not meant to, be a regulation or a hoop or a pain in the ass, but unfortunately, sometimes they can be if it's the wrong person in the position, or if there are not enough people to cover a particular geographical area. What about Utah? California has the reputation of being over regulatory. What's your experience like selling bees? What's that like for you out there?
An earlier question you asked was, do you have a bee inspector? Yeah, we do, but I think that's it. I think a lot of it drops down to the county, but I know Fresno. I'm almost certain Fresno County doesn't really. They want you to register your bees and location online.
Okay.
And then I think they handle it from there. Like someone looks at them and says, okay, that's where they're at, or this how many colonies we have in the county. but there isn't someone or a few people that go around, and there certainly isn't a state guy that traverses the state, So, and I could be wrong, but I've never really heard of one. Now, kind of going back to another conversation you had earlier about selling honey.
Yeah.
I found out today, and I didn't know about this, the Cottage Food Law Act, or cottage, whatever it's called. This county, I could sell two ways: direct to the consumer or indirect via, through a store. But I cannot, and I didn't know this, I cannot sell online. I cannot sell anything online. And I'm like, what? And then the top value is, or the top amount is 50,000. So it's not broke down between products.
Oh, it's just overall. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Huh.
So that's for the direct. The indirect, then I have to jump a couple more hoops. So, like commercial kitchen, I got to get inspected, and something else. And then of course the label is like what Glade was saying. It's, a bunch of, blah, blah, blah. But out here in California, as far as selling bees, they're, I don't know about any, regulations on doing it. Although queen breeders, they keep tabs on queen breeders. I do know that.
Do you guys think this is a feature of the West, that it's a little bit
Open?
Yeah, open. Thank you. That's a better way to say it than the words that were coming to my mind.
Yeah, I know.
It seems like other states deal with more regulations than what we're hearing tonight.
Yeah. I know Tennessee, you can't, what is it? You can't sell bees on a frame,
or something like that.
Oh, yeah, something to do with the comb.
Or no, you can't sell frame or equipment without bees, right? The bees have to be on something weird like that.
Yeah, but it had something to do with the comb. So I don't know. Yeah.
So for me, I think there are a lot of positive things about keeping bees out in Colorado and the West in general. No hive beetles. Holy cow.
No hive beetle.
I've seen a couple of hive beetles in Colorado, and they've traveled into Colorado on packages, right? So don't have to deal with that. I've never had to portion out pollen patties because I'm worried about what kind of pests those pollen patties are going to add to. Thank you.
Bracken,
American Bee Lady.
Did you register?
I did.
Okay.
My bees are registered. That is
for me.
Sorry, I was going to talk about kind of the inspectors and stuff.
Yeah, go ahead.
One thing that I have been looking into that, as far, because if I take my bees are registered, my pallets are clean, I've crossed the books, I've kept, the information I need to do. Now they don't necessarily, I go a little bit earlier than most of the big commercial guys go. Those ag departments aren't looking for, a few hives. They're going after the semis. They're going after the big agriculture, the big ones. But that being said, I found this year, and Glade, maybe you know him. His name is Joey
Caputo.
Yeah, is he one of the state guys?
He's the state bee inspector.
Okay, so I spoke with him this year. He actually has, and I'll probably reach out to him this year to do it. They will have a California inspector come and inspect your bees here in Utah and approve them before they leave to California. And they will give you a document and whatever that you show when you get to the ag department. You say, here's my paperwork. They've already been inspected by a whatever, and they'll let you go.
Yep.
That's nice.
Yeah, that was something Joey was working on last year trying to get kind of through the hoops with California, so that those beekeepers that are taking bees to California can can do that a little more friendly. Get
Yeah,
through.
that's to me.
It's good on
There
the
is some interesting things that I kind of thought was a little bit. You can't have a vegetation that is more than 2 inches high within 10 feet of your colony.
Wow.
And mine were out in a field, and I was like, 2 inches, and he's like, yeah, they're pretty. He was like, they'll. I says, the whole freaking thing's 4 or 5 inches. You know what I mean? The grass and the shrubbery around it. It's not like it's in the middle of an anthill. It was just in a pasture field. So I was like, do I need to go in there with a lawnmower? And he's like, yeah, they want it 2 inches. And I says, or what, on cement or gravel? Like, so next, if I do end up getting that big, I am going to have to consider that if I want to have them come and inspect before I go to California. I'll have to find, to me, that's ridiculous. You want me to find a spot to put bees with shrubbery less than 2 inches, 10 feet away from my pallet? There's nowhere in the state of Utah I can set those, unless not even on the middle of the road.
You can out here.
Yeah, on the dirt.
On the dirt.
Yeah. I guess I could plow the field and then hurry and put them all in there. That's what I'll do.
There you go. Just plow that field off.
I'll just move them, take my tractor in there and rip out all the freaking shrubbery and then put them back down.
just run the discer over it a couple of times.
Just lather it with some Roundup. Anyways,
I've been watching that guy walk in the woods. And I was
Matthew Walker.
Walker.
It's fun watching you young guys with all your energy, with all your goals for the rest of your business. And he's kind of similar. He grew a lot, but he was moving, like he's putting his bees on brand new pallets to put them out there. So he's not even dealing with having to wash them off. Yeah, I thought that was a good idea.
His videos give me anxiety.
Yeah.
I watch his videos and I'm like, oh my gosh, how does this guy sleep at night?
And I watch his videos and go, well, that's why I'm not doing it.
It's fun to watch, though. It's fun to watch people doing different stuff. We have different goals with their bees. I wonder, has anyone seen that YouTube channel? It's called Bee Vlog Australia. Has anybody watched that guy? Most of his videos, he makes these mini mating nukes out of like insulated boxes. I don't know if they're like medical boxes, but he cuts them down and makes these tiny little mini mating nukes. And he does like the barbecue skewers, kind of like Sam Comfort for the frames. And he just plays with these tiny little colonies that'll make like a long lang version of them. If you're interested in watching people play with mini mating nukes, man, that is a great channel.
He's fun to watch.
Yeah, it's very nichey. You don't get to see much more than that. But if you're looking for that, that's definitely the place to go. That was one channel I've been digging into recently. Do you guys have any other YouTube channels that you've been watching recently that you think have been like different or just cool videos?
I'm a Stepler fan.
Yeah.
Man, I'm gonna look at
watch his stuff.
Yeah.
Duck River, I think, is really good. Out of and
Nathan.
Bob, Benny, Nathan, and Bob. Let's see, who else do we?
I've been enjoying Ryan Williamson's videos recently. First of all, he's a really creative guy. You can see he's very out there and imaginative, and that creativity really plays out in some of his experiments that he does. Ryan Williamson, he's Sourwood
Farm.
Thank you.
Sourwood Beef Farm, I think, or Sourwood Farms.
He's
Farm.
Sourwood Farms. Yeah, he's a really interesting guy. He's very creative. He's a little bit of a breeder. I think he does a little bit of everything, but he did a video recently, which was kind of like a compilation of a whole bunch of short videos he did throughout the year on how he uses his what Brad Hogg calls his story frames, where he'll take a deep frame and cut foundation in half and just have the center half and then nothing on the outer parts. And Ryan Williamson, he basically pieced all of these short videos together of how he uses them throughout the year. And in the winter, when he had nothing to do, kind of published it that way instead of doing it throughout the year little by little. It was really cool. He's a very creative guy.
One guy that's probably not on anybody's radar, because I don't think he's put out videos in like 6 or 7 years, is Ralph Jones III. Check that out.
Okay. Is that queen rearing guy?
No, he's in Virginia, I think.
Huh.
Maybe Clay knows who I'm talking about. He I don't think, well, I know he doesn't do videos anymore, but he had all kinds of little ideas, tips, things he does that kind of made sense to me. He ran 7 frame boxes, I think it was. And I can't remember the reason why, but he had stated the reason. And I thought, oh, that does kind of make a little sense. But he's it's pretty interesting, the stuff that he had. It's pretty cool.
I just subbed to him. He hasn't done a video in quite a while, but it does look like some interesting stuff.
He does have some I'm not going to say crazy stuff, but he has some really neat stuff, I think.
Sure.
6 years he hasn't been on. And I think, okay, so I hope he's not watching. If he is, Ralph, I don't mean any harm, but I think he had a very shiny hat with, aluminum foil hat, because he started at the end. He started talking about his cell phone tracking him, or like knowing what he's doing, or I don't know.
Okay.
If he just stayed with the bees, he'd have been fine. But he kind of got off. He got off the road into the ditch, and I don't think he ever came out of the ditch. But he has some good stuff.
Cool. Thanks, Todd.
Yeah.
How about Glade?
If you're listening.
What about Glade? What about what's hard about keeping bees where you're at? You talked
right
about
now the weather's too unpredictable.
Yeah, same here.
For me, typically my winters are quite severe. I mean, we get cold winters, hot summers, not much in between. And so having this warm weather right now is just, I'm going to be feeding bees probably till March at least.
You're going to have a big sugar deal, huh?
I know. I bought
Hey guys, I've got to jump off. So
yeah, thanks for coming on, Bracken. Appreciate it.
Yep. I'll talk to you guys later.
See you, Bracken.
Have a great night.
Yeah, bye.
I bought a bunch of sugar last fall, and I'm going to go through it. I thought, oh, this is going to last me all next year, and it's not going to last me.
No.
So
that's not a nice feeling. How much is sugar up there, by the way?
I haven't bought it since last fall. Typical 25-pound bag of sugar in the store is usually $17.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it as high as 22 and as low as 12. So when I see it on sale at $12, then I go buy a bunch of sugar, and the ladies at the grocery store look at me funny.
I don't think I've ever seen it $12. Holy cow, man.
Oh, a couple years ago, a 25-pound bag was at Walmart was like $8. And now it's $19.99. I'm going to look at the price right now because I haven't looked at it in a while. That, yeah, it's just sugar is just gotten out of hand.
Glade, do you have a bee community around you? Like for us, we all go to the bee expo, we all go east. We're pretty isolated in the west, and it's a long drive to anywhere. That's pretty much the same for you as well?
Yeah, most of the beekeepers, I have one commercial beekeeper here in my area, and the rest of them are all hobbyists. I know of two that have probably more hives than I do, but most of them are hobbyists, and there's actually a fair number of hobbyists, at least that typical hobbyists. They start, they do it a year or two, and then they drop off the charts.
Yeah.
But the Wasatch Front, so Salt Lake area and south of Salt Lake and north of Salt Lake, there's probably 3 beekeeping clubs out there that do pretty well. And I say pretty well, I mean they're regular, and they have a good following. I think their meetings will typically get 30 to 40 people at a meeting, which I tried to start some beekeeping club meetings free. Come join, and let me help you with your questions. I could not get enough traction to keep it going. I mean, I would set up the meeting and get all the announcements out and everything, and I'd go to the meeting and literally have one person show up. And I could not get, still can't get any kind of traction that way. And yet I get people constantly message me, asking me, my bees died. What did I do wrong? Well, have you ever tried to take a class? Have you ever talked to anybody? No, I just watch everything online. And, here we are as content creators, some of us, and we're trying to give them some education, trying to give them some information. But what I tell somebody for my area is going to be so different than Todd and Bryan. And it's not the same, and they just don't get that. And had somebody the other day, him and his dad, trying to keep bees 4 or 5 years. They can't keep them alive. And I'm like, I don't know how to convince them that there needs to be a community of beekeepers that are willing to share and talk and help each other through this. I don't know how to get past that mentality of, well, I'm just going to look it up online, and which is fine. I mean, I've learned tons from you guys and everybody else out there online, but it's not the same.
No, you need a certain amount of base knowledge to be able to synthesize other information into what you do. You can't take what someone does in Louisiana and just I'm going to do it here. You have to be like, okay, how does that apply to my situation? You have to understand. There has to be an understanding of your situation before you can apply it to that. And that takes some years of experience to get there.
And I get that all the time. And somebody says, oh, well, I watched Bob Binney, or I watched Cayman Reynolds, or I watched whoever, it doesn't matter who, and they were doing this, and I think it's a great idea. Well, it is a great idea, but what's their goal? Why are they doing it? Yeah. What's the conditions of the hive? What's prompting that whole thing? What's their end goal out of doing whatever manipulation it is? Had somebody ask me, how to do a demarré method, and I'm like, well, what are you trying to do? And we're here in Utah right now, you're thinking about demarré? That no, you do that now, you're going to kill your bees.
Yeah.
We're warm, but we're not that warm. does a Demarest work in May? Maybe.
So Glade, do you just get one big flow a year, or do you have like a spring and fall flow? How does that work?
No, we start about mid May. We have some coming in April, but it's not enough to really capture. It's enough to get the bees really going.
Yep.
Our honey flow starts about middle of May, depending on weather, of course, and we get decent flow till middle of July, and then we're usually too hot. My area out here, when I was a boy, used to be a huge alfalfa seed producing area, and so the alfalfa growers would let their fields go to seed, and that's really where the commercial beekeeper around here made his money, was that alfalfa honey, and the honey's really good because it's dry, it's concentrated, but it just has a really nice mild honey flavor to it, and that's where the commercial guy made their money, was off that alfalfa that they used to let go to seed, but now they all cut it excuse me, just before it blooms. And so we can have some really nice honey out here, and if you can find a grower, somebody that doesn't really care about the content, they're feeding horses, or they're not trying to feed cattle and fatten them up and whatnot, you can still get some honey into August, but generally speaking, by the 1st of August, we're done.
Okay. Now, Eric is in here. Eric lives in Erie, Colorado, which is about 40 minutes north of me. He lives in a part of Colorado that you made me think of there, Glade, because they get a lot of alfalfa honey up there, because there's a lot of agriculture up there growing alfalfa. So, Eric, that's what I would anticipate if I were you. I don't know exactly where you're at in Erie, but I know folks up there are getting a lot of good alfalfa honey. It's a great creamed honey. It's it's a very popular honey for customers as well. It's not one of those unique out there honeys that's kind of got a niche customer base. It's very broad in its appeal.
No, you're right. It's a very mild honey, makes great creamed honey. But I used to buy, before I became a beekeeper, I bought my honey from the local commercial guy, and they do a great job. And I had some, after I became a beekeeper, I'm like, oh, look, here's some of this other guy's honey. And I started tasting it. And even though my hives are right down the road from his, he has just a much wider footprint than I do in the area. And his honey doesn't taste like my honey. Mine's different. And I've had honey from one year to the next. It's not quite the same from one year to the next because of, weather and what bloomed really well one year didn't bloom at all the next year. And I like my honey. His honey's very consistent because he blends it. He gets a very consistent product, but I like that little bit of variability in mine. It's close, but it's not the same. You taste them together and you're going to go, that's not the same honey.
Yeah. Do you separate out your honeys? Do you get different enough flavors that you sell them separately?
No, we don't typically get enough that way. I will try to keep my spring honey supers a little bit separate from my summer honey, just because that spring honey tends to be lighter and it makes a prettier creamed honey.
Yeah.
My honey, the darker summer honey, my creamed honey comes out more of a butterscotch color. And for whatever reason, it's just not as pleasing to the eye, and so it doesn't sell quite as well. If I capture that spring honey that's much lighter, and then it comes out much whiter, it looks more like this comb behind me.
I know exactly what you're talking
just,
about.
It's just prettier in the jar, and once people taste that, if you're doing farmers market and you're doing creamed honey, give them a sample, and you don't have to say a word, and they'll buy it. They'll buy it every time. Just give them a sample. Here, try that.
I like my creamed honey as white as possible as well. I'm with you on that. Taste exactly the same, but our senses combine for that experience, and I think that white really matters.
You know what's so funny is people around here, I don't know how it is in Utah or even Colorado. I don't know if I've asked you this, Brian, but people around here, they don't know what creamed honey is.
Yeah, no, I have to almost force them to try it.
Yeah, but
once you get them past that, you're good.
Yeah, but it's funny though, because I have the same problem. Maybe it's just me when I see it come out, because I'm comparing mine to somebody on the East Coast that has like white creamed honey. You know, that's
pretty.
It could be summer honey and it turns white. You know, it bothers me, but the people, they don't know what the color's supposed to be.
Here, let me see if I can find one of mine. Hang on.
But it always has bugged me. And when mine comes out, it's not as light as I would wish. Although my orange honey comes out really light. And that's about as, and I make lemon with it. You know, summer honey, I make cinnamon with it because the cinnamon's going to darken it anyway. So
yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's not gonna.
Wow, it looks like bees.
Yeah, there you go.
There you can see it.
So there's my typical honey.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I can get that turned around here.
Yeah, I think that's about as light as I could get my orange.
Yeah, that's about as light as I've had it a little bit lighter than that, but oof.
Yeah,
I can't get it much. If I use my summer honey, then this comes out real butterscotch color.
Yeah.
And I don't like it that way. It, like you say, it tastes the same. It tastes great, but
yeah, I
don't like it that way.
I've done my creamed honey spiel so much. Creamed honey, what's that? I don't even have to think about it.
I want to hear your spiel, because
well,
I've got my spiel.
Yeah.
I have one too.
It changes over time, and you end up answering all of the most common questions before they're asked as you hone it down. So it always starts with no different ingredients between raw honey and creamed honey. That's where we start, right? Creamed honey is a manipulation. That's right. Creamed honey is a manipulation of the crystallization process. We make the crystals microfine, and that makes the honey smooth and creamy, nice and spreadable. I can go, how do you make it? Then I can go into the spiel of how I make it, but I make it nice and concise, and I answer every single, and then because we've got a testing station, right? We've got like 8-10 different honeys. I'll point at the plain honey, and then I go from there, we add fun flavors into it, like lemon or cinnamon or matcha or whatever, to show the difference. And then I'll even have them taste the raw honey and the creamed honey so they can experience how the taste experience changes with the texture change in the honey. Yeah. So that's my quick spiel.
I like it.
I talk about, obviously they're like, I've never heard of creamed honey. And I said, well, you know what? If you go to Europe, unlike here where you see honey on the shelf in a store, you go to Europe, you don't see regular honey. You see creamed honey. So it's like 90% creamed, 10% regular. Over here, it's flipped. So that's probably why you don't know about this, is because we don't consume as much creamed honey. But creamed honey is just 100% honey. There's no dairy in it.
There's
People
no
around
cream
here,
in it.
they think, oh, I'm lactose intolerant. Well, okay, but
Great.
this is just honey. And I mentioned that. I say my recipe is somewhere around 9 parts of runny honey, regular runny honey, and 1 part of crystallized honey. I put it in a machine that churns it like butter for like 3-4 days until it gets to where I want it, and then I bottle it, or I flavor it and then I bottle it. And that's about it. And then that's where I give them, I give them the thing that holds all the little spoons, and then I hold up the jar, and then they're like, yeah, wow, I've never had that before. That's kind of what I do.
Glade, do you have a best-selling flavor?
Honey. I'm gonna kind of double down on my creamed honey going forward.
Okay.
My wife pleasantly surprised me with a Ilko creamer.
Nice.
For Christmas. But I haven't got it up and running. I need a place to put it. I don't have a place to put it, and I've got to build some cabinets and a few things to set it on. And my hand is kind of out of commission right at the moment. And so it's going to have to wait a bit. But
sure,
I'm curious because I've never ventured past just straight creamed honey.
Oh, okay.
So flavoring honey.
Yeah.
What do you? Maybe you guys don't want to give trade secrets away, but how are you flavoring your honey? I mean, cinnamon's pretty obvious, but how are you getting some of the other flavors? How are these? I've seen blueberry lemon, and I've seen, everything from raspberry to mango jalapeno, whatever. Are you using powders? You using syrups? You using? How do you do that?
Yeah,
this
is new area for me. Is
so
flavored.
The guy you want to talk to right here.
That horse.
No.
Yeah, so I'll take this one. Sure. So yes, a lot of powdered ingredients. We'll start there. You can get like powdered dehydrated blueberry, any fruit pretty much. You can go on Amazon and get a powdered dehydrated kind of fruit product to add to that.
Okay.
Honey. We'll stop there.
Maybe this is where you don't want to spill the the secrets.
Yeah. Sure.
So are you like pre-mixing that powdered into a little bit of honey to get it started and then mixing that into a big batch, or are you just dumping it into the batch?
Yeah, now here's where the art of it comes in. You're going to get different variations on how people do it. If you listen to Kevin Monfeld, what he does, he'll add his flavoring into a bucket of liquid honey, and then he'll mix that for like 2 days, and then add that, like have that flavor sit in the liquid for like 2 days. Then he'll add the creamed honey as the seed into that and mix it together. I don't do it that way at all. Yeah, so very different strategy. What I do is I have an 18-gallon Lyson creaming machine. So I have that thing making creamed honey for me pretty much all the time. When I want to batch off a flavor, when I add powdered ingredients, then I'll put it into a bucket. I have a mortar drill and drill bit, that strategy. So that's how I'll mix that powder into it once it's already creamed. So he adds that powder to the raw liquid honey first. I add it at that creamed honey stage. Now do you want to stop there and ask questions, or should I go on to the next part?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm learning.
So another thing you can do is kind of like what Kevin does with the powdered materials is you can infuse a flavor first. So for example, if you wanted to infuse vanilla beans, you could take vanilla beans, put that into a honey, kind of like he does with the powdered ingredients, right? And then put it in like a honey warmer. If you have a refrigerator for warming your honey, right, you can put it in there, that low heat. And so you're adding the flavoring in first through an infusion, right? You can do that with lavender, dried lavender buds. You can put that into the liquid honey, let that infuse in your honey, then filter out that plant material, and then add the seed into it that way. So you can do it both ways. And I'm sure there's variations on both of those ways as well. That's where you kind of get into the art of it. Now, the one thing I don't use syrups. I don't know if people do that or not. The only liquid thing I do add, Glade, is to the lemon creamed honey. We use lemon essential oils, which are edible. And I'd be really careful, though, in experimenting with different essential oils, because I know some are edible and some aren't edible. Lemon's the only one I actually know of, though. Brian, how close can you get to true creamed honey by natural methods of growing small crystals versus temperature control? I'm not sure what he means by that entirely. Natural methods of growing small crystals. Help me out here.
Is he just talking about just letting it set, or?
Okay.
Because if I just let mine set, I get gritty. It's not terrible, but it's gritty enough on the tongue that's not what people want, and it's noticeable.
That's my experience as well. Is that what you're talking about, DC? Just letting it crystallize naturally? Sugar crystals are small enough, they will grow new crystals at that same size.
Right. Which is what you're doing with the seed honey. But my natural seed doesn't produce small enough crystals to do that.
Yeah.
I think some honeys will crystallize naturally and stay quite smooth. But
I think I think you're right. The different types of sugars are going to impact the size of those crystals as it crystallizes, but that's as far as I know about it. I couldn't say this is going to make small and this is going to make large.
We don't get enough varietal honey out here to try and do that. We're going to get alfalfa, wildflower, and clover.
Yeah. John up there says freeze-dried powders have more flavor than dehydration. I have a vendor friend, speaking of that, John, who bought a freeze dryer, and so he's been like freeze drying tomatoes. He's like a vegetable farmer, and he grows like sprouts and stuff like that. But he bought a freeze dryer and he's been experimenting with it, and he wants to experiment with freeze drying honey. And every time I talk to him about it, I keep calling it a dehydrator, and he corrects me. But I want to get him to freeze dry material, because I could buy a freeze dryer myself and then turn all that into a powdered dehydrated material and then put it into my honey. But that's way too much work. I'd rather have him do it. And then
I have a freeze dryer, and that's that's where my question was kind of rooted from. Was how are you flavoring that honey? I know you can actually buy freeze-dried honey, but I know there's a process that the retail or the residential freeze dryers don't do. So if you just put honey in a residential freeze dryer, it doesn't work for whatever reason.
That's what I've heard too.
Yeah. You know what I got at Nobby? One of my purchases this year at Nobby, Brian, it was a Dadan. And so you're talking about freeze-dried and powdery and all that. I bought the dehydrated, the seed, and I did it. And holy cow, that stuff is pretty darn good.
Is it?
So so I made a plain wildflower creamed honey out of it. And
so you took that seed and added it to raw liquid honey, and you mixed it together, and you got a really nice creamed honey.
Yes, really nice, smoother than I've made it so far.
Wow. That's
Interesting.
interesting.
Yeah. And,
I've seen that, and I just kind of wondered.
oh, it's for real. Big Mike talked me into it. I'm like, yeah, I guess I'll, because Big Mike said that there was a bunch of guys up in New Hampshire that used it and said it worked out really good. And I completely forgot him telling me about this on day one, and then like on Friday he says, "Hey, did you buy that powdered whatever that starter?" And I'm like, "Oh, sorry, I got to go get it," because we walked over there and ordered it, and I forgot to go get it, so I finally got it before we left. But it was good. I was really pleased with it.
How much did it cut? Like a pound, 10 pounds?
A 5 pound or a 1 pound package is like 5 1/4, something like that.
Okay.
So yeah, it worked out. It worked out really good.
And then same weight ratio for
Yeah.
seed.
So I bought 5 packages because I knew I was going to throw in, well, for what I did, I threw in a whole bucket into my creamer. And I have a heated creamer, so I got the honey all nice and warmed up and real, workable, I guess you could say. And then I turned the blades on and I slowly started pouring it in as the blades went around. I used all 5 packages. So I eventually used all 5 packages. So it worked out pretty good.
So you're going to buy it again, or are you going to keep some aside for your seed?
Have you been able to reuse your seed, and how
Right.
long have you been able to keep?
Oh yeah, I reused my seeds and all the seed because I made lemon honey and I kept some of that lemon and then cinnamon. I kept, so I kept all that and then I just added back. This time I kept a lot of this seed, so I have I probably pulled out about 5 pounds of seed. So we'll see. But
Brian, do you do that? Do you keep out a little bit from each batch to reseed the next batch?
Well, what I do is just keep feeding my creaming machine, so I can. It holds 18
never
gallons.
let it empty.
Yeah, exactly. So I just top it off, press the button. There you go.
Okay,
Yeah,
so yes and no.
Yeah, so I first this is what I did originally. I bought the licensed bottling tank and I was like, sweet, now I'm gonna get the creaming attachment. I bought the creaming attachment with the idea that I can do double duty, right? I can have it making creamed honey and I can have it bottling my honey. And really, really quickly, I realized that I needed a machine for each of those jobs because that machine was making creamed honey and I was selling so much creamed honey that it just kept making it and making it and making it, and that I needed a different machine just for bottling. Is that a thing, a Green River melon that they grow in Utah there?
Green River's a town south of me.
Yeah.
If you think we're dry, they're drier. But they have quite sandy soil down there, and so watermelons grow quite well there. If you have water. But
Green River right on I-70 there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the turn to go to Moab, I think.
Yeah, well, catch it the right time of the year and go get a watermelon.
No, I'm good.
Pretty good watermelon coming out of Green River. So
I believe
watermelon creamed honey. I'm gonna have to think about that one.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it too. I wonder what they do to make that powder so fine. It's got to be the smallest, finest. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. They mill it to death, I'm sure.
Right. So I am trying the Cream Pal this year. That'll be different. So I'll be changing and experimenting on my creaming process. It definitely does less at a time. So that'll be a little bit different. So it'll be interesting to talk or to kind of figure out the difference of how I'm going to use the machines. I think I actually just blew my gearbox on my creamer. It overheated. It started smoking. I turned it off. I have a call into Better Bee, and I'm waiting on it. So I might end up having to replace that, but it's already paid for itself several times over.
Yeah. See, that's the thing with me. I'm not hitting all the markets and stuff on the weekend. You know, on the weekend I'm working the bees.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping to do market again this coming summer. I didn't do it at all last year, but my life situation changed last November. So I'm hoping to have I should have some free time to hit markets now.
Did you retire?
I retired.
Yeah.
For you.
Right before Thanksgiving.
Right on. What did you do? What'd you do for a living?
Worked for the local telephone, broadband, wireless company. Started off as an accountant. So I have a bachelor's degree in accounting. That's my education.
Okay.
After about 6 years there, I ended up basically becoming the billing and the IT manager. So dove off into the whole IT world. And my accounting background helped me with the billing side of it. In the telecom wireless world, back in the early mid 90s, things were very different with wireless, right? You got billed for every minute you used. And then as we did text messaging, you got billed for every text message you used. And then as we do data, we got billed for every byte you used. And eventually we come back around to an unlimited plan. But that was my world, was dealing with all the billing side. So all those records that your phones make and everything, I dealt with that on my end and billed it back out to the customer. And I also dealt with all of the IT. The company I worked for went from, we had 31 employees when I started, and we grew about 2001. We grew rapidly. And when I left, we had 350 employees-ish. So did a lot of growth for the company while I was there. And I did IT work for 15 years. So virtual servers, Microsoft Active Directory, databases. And then as the billing world kind of changed, I basically became a database administrator. So accounting, IT, database, billing, that was my world for 31 years.
Oh, wow.
So, well, congratulations again on the next part of your life. As you move on to have more time, will you be growing your apiary or focusing on selling products? What's that going to look like, Glade?
I'm going to grow a little bit. I'd like to up my honey production. I haven't been able to produce enough honey to keep me in honey all year.
Okay.
I'm usually sold out, and so I'd like to have enough that I could actually get through a year and not be scraping the bottom of the bucket trying to.
Yeah.
So that's going to grow, and the creamed honey side, so that's where the creamed honey question, that's going to grow. So I'm going to expand that creamed honey line a little bit. And I teach beekeeping classes, and we're going to kind of double down on the beekeeping for a little while. Hopefully I'm still young enough. The body's feeling right now like it's been picked on. You can see I've got a spot on my head. They've took a nice little chunk out of my head, so I got a hole in my head now, and I have a hand that's pretty gnarly.
Do you want to tell the story, or
I don't know how well you can see my hand here.
Oh, wait, let me I can do this.
No, not that one. There you go.
Go ahead.
if you're squirmish, maybe you don't want to see this.
Was
Yeah,
this done
it's
in a
late
wood
night.
shop or
We're
something?
late night. We're late night, Glade. Oh yeah, was that chainsaw?
No, that was actually. Can't get it to focus. Never mind. I have a condition called Dupuytren's contracture.
Oh yeah.
So essentially, what happens is you have a layer between the skin and the muscle that's a fascia layer, and it develops nodules and cords in there, and those cords start to shrink, and they'll pull your fingers and your joints down. So it's kind of like a trigger finger, but it's not trigger finger.
Okay.
It's not a tendon issue, but it'll pull the joints to where you can't extend your fingers anymore, and that's where this pinky was headed. And they went in and released it, and they basically have to surgically remove that tissue. And unfortunately, the Dupuytren's likes to wrap itself around the nerves, and so they basically have to go in and dissect the nerve out of all of that, which makes the nerve very angry. And
So
that's where it's at now.
So that was surgery. That wasn't an accident.
No, that's not an accident. That's
Wow.
actual surgery. And
did you try the injections first?
The doctor I talked to, he said where mine was at in the pinky, he says the injections are too risky because the injection stuff is collagenase, which basically dissolves collagen, which your body's made of. And so if they inject it in the wrong spot, you may not have much left there. And so he says it's just too dangerous right there around that joint and the nerves and the blood vessels to do it right there. I had some in the palm of my hand, but he said, that's not going to work. So
see, I have a similar problem, except it's on the opposite limbs. I call it caveman foot. I went to the doctor for this. I don't know. See if this will.
Oh wait, let me load you.
So my left foot is I
don't know what I'm doing.
You're there.
I think it's the one person. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you could see you could see the toe on that left foot. The big toe, it's going in.
Oh yeah.
And then the toe next to it is a hammer toe, and it's like what you have, Glade, except it just the tendon is holding that toe up like that. And it hurts. I mean, I had cramps in it this evening, and man, it hurts. I mean,
this isn't mine's not a tendon issue. It's that layer between the skin and the muscle that gets contracted. Mine's actually, they call it Viking's hand, because it's
caveman foot and Viking's hand.
If you've got Norwegian ancestors, then you're a little more prone to it. So
are you going to be all ready for the bee year? Will you be all healed up by then?
Hopefully.
There we go.
That's why I did it now, but I'm feeling pretty picked on because I got this hole in my head and my hand's completely, that pinky finger is completely numb. I can't feel it at all.
It sucks getting old, huh?
And what feeling I do get is just the nerves still waking up, and so the nerve, the pain from basically having your finger flayed open is nothing. There really is none right at the moment, but the pain from the nerve is just driving me up the wall.
I saw the x-rays of my big toe, and the joint, the reason why it's pointing inward, but I guess this way would be. It's not the joint is off to the side.
Ooh.
And so what he said, we have to play the insurance game. So you have to do step 1, step 2, step 3. Well, step 3 is where he'll go in, he'll make an incision on the top of my foot and then move the joint over and then put braces on both sides and it'll fuse together. So I won't be able to, I'll be able to move my toe, but when I move it up and down, it would just be more difficult, but I won't lose feeling in my big toe because that's where
it's where your
brain,
balance is coming.
Yeah, your brain knows exactly what position you're in from the big toe, the nerves in the big toe. So anyway, it's it hurts every day when I walk on it. And I wear boots in the bee yard, and that's even worse. So I'm waiting right now for insoles that will be fit to my foot, and then I can put them in any of my shoes, and then including my boots. So I'm gonna be doing that and see what it feels like. But yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah, this getting old is.
It sucks. That's about it. You're not too far away, Brian.
Oh no, I've been there for a while, for sure. I've been dealing with back and neck problems since I was about 30, so it's been a downhill. I used to go out to Utah to Moab and mountain bike all the time. That was my spring break, Glade. I would do the Slick Rock Trail, and then one year I didn't want to drive all the way out, and I learned about Fruta and then did a whole bunch of trails out there. But yeah, we're all falling apart in different ways. I busted my nose open. I hurt my leg outside. I was emptying the duck pool, and a piece of ice slammed on my leg and cut it open. So I come into the house and I get dizzy, and I ended up fainting, and I hit my nose on the way down on the wall. Then I hit my head when I've hit the floor. So I got maybe a broken nose and maybe a concussion out of it. But I'm licking my wounds too, Glade, for sure. The old guy syndrome is definitely coming in. But let me tell you, man, that was a scary situation because I'm thinking, like, what if my leg is broken? Who's going to take care of my bees? Right. That's what I'm thinking about, is like the implication it has on my business in the next 2 months and what that's going to do for me. And holy cow, that was a close call. And like, I'm the beekeeper. I got no one else to, my friends, but not my kids or my wife. They're not beekeepers. They can sell the honey, but they can't keep the bees. So that was a close one.
My wife was kind enough to go out with me about 2 weeks ago and just check food stores and throw some fondant on a few hives, and because I couldn't even put a glove on my hand.
Wow.
And anyway, the goal is to have this all healed up and ready to go here in another month and a half.
Now, are you right-handed? That's your right hand?
Yeah, I'm right-handed. So
okay.
Oh, that sucks. Ooh.
Look, Eric lived in Fruta.
Clay says everybody's showing their battle scars.
Yeah.
Well, I've had surgery on both elbows. I've had torn ACL.
Jeez.
Now I tell people this: if you notice my nose is crooked, it all goes to one side. I've had jaw surgery. They essentially moved my whole jaw over when I was a teenager.
Ooh.
So I've got a few scars.
All right, guys. Well, Glade, thanks for coming out and joining us. Bracken, belatedly, thanks for coming out and joining us. Maybe we can get Jed next time. Really enjoyed having you out, Glade. It's really interesting hearing. Yeah, we're all in the same part of the United States, but man, our beekeeping is still really different. Yeah. So there are definitely similarities out there, and there's some positives about keeping bees out in the West, but it's definitely not quite like most of our East Coast beekeeper friends that have different things that they're dealing with.
It was definitely, Bracken and Jed and I went to Alabama and helped Bruce pull his honey last year, and thoroughly enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun too. But his bees are different, and we cracked open that one hive that just got slimed out from hive beetle, and I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I don't have hive beetle. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Just, it was disgusting. Like, I've never had a hive that's just that yucky, slimy, stinky. And
I've we've talked about moving east before, and I've thought really hard about like how would my management style change because of hive beetle.
It would take you a couple of years to figure that out, how to do that.
Yeah, I agree. Like just one small little pest that you think is just a nuisance pest when looking at it on YouTube videos really, really can impact everything that you do. Like I think about just making splits and nukes in the spring, the potential damage that can happen from hive beetles to a colony that small as I'm feeding them up to get them ready to sell.
Trying to feed and throw a pollen patty in there. I looked at some of Bruce's hives, and he had a few smaller hives, and I cracked a couple. He had a nook sitting there in one yard, and I cracked it open. I'm like, oh my goodness, Bruce, this thing needs another box. And cracked open the next one, and I'm like, where's the bees? Hive beetle crawling everywhere, and I'm like, oh,
yeah,
that's disgusting.
Yeah.
So Glade, besides recovering, do you have anything bee-wise coming up in the next week or two?
Utah Beekeepers Association meeting is 20. I have to think about this. 20th, 21st. So next Friday, Saturday.
Weekend?
Yep, next weekend. And then I've got a couple of classes that I'll teach the following 2 weekends. And
what are your topics?
I teach I do a beginning beekeeping workshop. So, like a 6-hour, bring them in, and I feed you lunch and do, beginning beekeeping from the beginning, and teach you, what equipment you need and where to go get bees, and hopefully enough basis. Again, you talked about having that basis, hopefully a little bit of a basis that they can work from, a little bit of a foundation that they can work from. And then I encourage them to keep asking me questions, keep sending me what's going on, and some do, and most of them won't. And I do what I can, but
sure, that's all you can do.
All I can do. So
Todd, how about you? What you got coming up?
Well, personally, I'm going to be in Missouri for the EMBA. And then our club is having our annual symposium, let me see, February 28th, and Randy Oliver is going to speak. Christy from Apis M is going to be there. There's a researcher, I can't remember his name. He's Greek, but he's from Oregon State. There's somebody else.
Andoni Metalopoulos or something.
There
like
you
that.
go. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
And there's somebody else. I can't remember who it is. It was more of a recent add-on. But anyway, so that's on the 28th. So that's like 3 weeks away, 2 weeks away, something like that.
And that's in person.
Correct. Yeah, it's on a Saturday. It's going to be at the Date branch here. We'll be inside the warehouse, and it's going to be a whole day. So it'd be nice.
So how far are you from the Date? Is it like a warehouse?
Yeah, it's the full store.
Wow.
Yeah, one of their branch stores. Yeah.
How far away from you was that?
From my house, it'd probably take me 10 minutes to get there.
Oh, dude, come on.
That's just not even fair. It's
like like a gambler living next door to a casino, you know. Yeah.
That'd be
Oh, I
tough,
have to
man.
watch myself. That's for sure.
Yeah.
We don't have. I know of 1, 2 places out on the Wasatch Front that actually sells bee equipment.
Yeah.
And there's a few other people that have some odds and ends in that. So, but anything for me is you gotta order it. Wait for them to ship it.
Yeah, we have a couple of stores in the Denver area. We have a really good stores down in Colorado Springs, but I'm at a size now where they're great stores, don't get me wrong, and they're really important to the community for those new beekeepers to go in and touch base with those experts. But I can't buy equipment at their rates anymore with the amount of equipment I need to buy. It's cheaper for me to buy 20 from someone else and ship them out than to go to the local store and buy it. So I still push people to those local stores. I just don't use them quite as much myself.
I'm the exact same way.
Yep.
Yeah. And Todd, anything in the bee yard you got coming up? You got the conferences, the talks you talked about.
Okay, so you mean my bee yard personally?
Yeah.
Yeah, there actually is. So one of the guys in the club, he and I are going to get some Kona queens. He's trying to build back from his winter loss, which was pretty big, and I have some massive hives that I need to split, and I need queens, and the only place to get queens right now is Hawaii. So we're going to have those. It's going to rain all next week, so we can't do anything about that. But we're going to order them later next week, and they ship out them every Monday. So they only ship once a day, and they overnight it. So I'll have them on Tuesday. I think I'm going to fire up my incubator, and then I think Wednesday. Oh man, I'm sorry I can't come in the office today. I
don't have to do that anymore.
I'm just kidding.
It's the pleasure of being retired. I don't have to do that anymore.
But so yeah, I'm gonna be doing some making some divides and knocking down. I have 13 triples right now.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah. So and I'm getting 13 queens. So I know exactly where those 13 are going.
You need 26 queens if you've got 13 triples.
The plan is these 13 are like the ones that just blew up like crazy. And I'm not too far away from where I could start grafting. And I'm going to start grafting for the rest of them. But right now I want to keep as many bees in the yard right now as I can, because oranges are not too far away either. So it's a tightrope game right now. But
so at what point do your supers go on then?
I'm going to start slapping supers on probably. I'm going to do it early this year because I think everything's going to be early. So right now they're putting their. I checked a couple boxes today, a couple of the top boxes on the triples, and one colony has. I have a super of peach and plum nectar, I think, and then maybe wild radish. So it's all mixed in. But it's all nectar, and it's in the third box. Well, what do I do with that? So anyway, I'll probably put my supers on at least the last week of March, which is so weird. So I'm gonna have them on there for when they start doing it, because I don't know exactly when it's going to happen. Usually I wait till I start seeing some flowers bust open, but I'm not doing that this year. Because there's wild radish everywhere. And it's been open for months. I don't know why it hasn't died off yet, but it's not dying off. So I think that's where they're getting a lot of nectar. There was a guy, the guy I'm ordering queens with, said one year there was so much wild radish growing around here that they actually made a crop from it, and he said it tasted pretty good. So I'm like, oh, okay.
And I'm just hoping we get enough water that I get something to bloom out here.
That's usually my problem is we don't, 2 years ago we had 6 inches of rain for the whole year. So right now we have over 11 and a half. So we're at average.
Oh, I think our average is like 8 inches or something.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you're not too far off from my climate then.
Yeah, but
weather-wise.
yeah.
I mean, water-wise.
Water-wise, but your temperature-wise,
yeah, it's hot.
Quite a difference.
Yeah. What about you, Brian? What do you got going on?
Every Saturday we do a winter market, which is like a couple of the vendors at our farmers market just kind of meet at a parking lot. Like some of the guys have like eggs, or one guy's a dairy farmer, so they have food all year round, and they do really well when the market season is on. But when it's off, they have a hard time connecting with customers. So a bunch of us have just been meeting at a parking lot, and that's just like an hour and a half. So we go and we hang out, and we talk to the other vendors, and we see customers. So we'll do that on Saturday. I've been going around feeding up my bees the fondant. I've hit everyone since I've been doing this round, except for my management colonies. So the weather's going to be nice on Monday, like 66 degrees. So I'm going to hit them. And that should pretty much use up all the fondant I got from Matt. And then from there, I'm just going to start over again and start feeding the global patties, because I'm worried about feed. I'm worried about starvation. And that's my work with bees right now. Like you, I'm going to the EMBA conference next week. So I'm doing a little bit of prepping for that, but not much. Just kind of cleaning up some of my presentations. And then we're batching up for the season. We've been making lotion bars and salves. We've been making like as many as we can now, so we don't have to make it in July. Yeah. And that's been something we started last year that's really paid off once the season gets really, really cooking. So we're going to keep doing that until we run out of energy doing that. So that's pretty much it.
I know you want to probably wrap things up, but real quick, have you made a hot honey?
Sure. Yeah, I make hot honey. Yeah.
Okay. It is so popular right now. It's hot, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
It moves. So.
Yeah, I've done it a couple different ways too. I've done it where I get like peppers from the local farmers, and then I dehydrate them and infuse them. I've done it where I buy like the dehydrated peppers, and then I'll make. This is something I do too, Glade. I don't know if you're going to do any infusions, but sometimes I'll make like a small infusion, and you can put it on heat in a stove, and I'll basically kind of make like a hot honey concentrate, and I'll heat that up, and it won't be raw anymore because I'm adding that heat to it, but it's a small amount. Maybe it's a quart or two. And then I'll take that hot honey concentrate, which is hot as hell, and then add it to liquid raw honey. So it's still mostly raw honey, but then I'm diluting down the heat so I can get it to that right heat. And that's been the tricky part with the peppers getting from farmers, is every batch is different, which is good in a way. But from a customer consistency point, they were like, love that hot honey last time. They'll taste this one and be like, it's not as hot as last time.
This time.
Yeah. So it's tough to get that consistent piece the way I was.
Yeah, we run into that. We make a little raspberry jalapeno jam.
Okay.
And grow my own jalapenos for it. And some years the jalapenos are really hot, and some years they're just not quite as hot. A little more mild.
Yeah.
So
that impacts.
Looks like I need to jump on the hot honey bandwagon. And
there's definitely a market for it. All right, folks, have a great night. Thanks for sticking with us. I know this was a long one, but I thought it was a really good conversation. Glade, thanks for coming out. You're always welcome to join us.
Thank you.
we're trying to be here every other Thursday at 8
Yeah.
o'clock Mountain Standard Time. And Todd, my calendar has opened up recently, so a lot of the Thursdays that were taken previously are now no longer. So
I'm looking, Brian. I'm looking at the 26th, the week after we get back from Missouri.
perfect.
Thursday the 26th on my channel, Loma Vista Beco.
Perfect.
And
All
we'll
right.
do it this way.
Thank you guys. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
Glade, thanks for coming out. Rest up, heal up really well, man.
Yep. Thanks.
All right. Everyone have a great night.
Good night,
see you
everyone.
on the
Night.
26th.